warm greetings to all the participants, educators, and mentors from across the world. I am Abhiraman Vishwambaran, and I am glad to be your host today. Welcome to the Masterclass series conducted on the backdrop of the International Computing Olympiad, ICO, proudly presented by Qubits Learning in association with Athena Education, Copperstone Education, and Be Curious STEM Learning. Our masterclass offers expert-led sessions in each competition track. You will learn key skills, practical tips, and very interesting strategies to help you get deeper into the International Computing Olympiad 2025. The topic for today's masterclass is Climate Action Challenge using web technologies. So if you have any questions regarding the ICO or this session, please write them in the chat box. We will address the questions during the Q&A session. Today's session expert is Ms. Gowsika. Ms. Gowsika is a computer science engineer and accomplished CS ICT content developer with over 4 years of experience spanning full stack software development and educator training. With expertise in both technical implementation and curriculum design, Ms. Gowsika brings a unique blend of practical knowledge and pedagogical insight to her work, driven by a passion for democratizing technology education. Ms. Gowsika is committed to creating future-ready learning experiences that are both accessible and impactful. We welcome you, madam.
Thank you, Abhiraman, for your kind introduction. I am excited to be here today.
Okay. So before I pass on to Ms. Gowsika for the masterclass, let me give you details about the ICO 2025 and the working of the Qubits learning management system. So you can visit www.computingolympiad.org to get into the official website of the International Computing Olympiad 2025. You can move about the website and find what is the International Computing Olympiad is all about. You can also find what it takes to be a climate action hero. You can also find about the different tracks that we have for the ICO and the prizes, certificates, and free access associated along with it. Participants also note that you have the important dates regarding the ICO in the website itself. So please follow that. Also, at the top, you have the guidelines, which will give you a broad outlook on what the general rules and regulations are of the ICO, the judging criteria, and the specific guidelines for the participants. We also have the events page, which will mention which will give you an idea about the upcoming events that we will be having along with the International Computing Olympiad. So I reckon most of you would have joined for for their particular tracks for the International Computing Olympiad. For those who have not joined, let me give you a small run through. So at the home page, you have the register now button. You can click on that. This will take you to the team registration page, and you can start filling up with the team details, the team name, the team size. The maximum members in a team is 3. An individual can also participate, following which you can enter the mentor details, the student details, and get into the contest category selection, which will let you to select a particular track for the International Computing Olympiad. So you will have declarations. You can tick the boxes once you read the guidelines, and you can click submit, which will take you to the payment gateway, where on the left you will have the track that you've selected, and on the right you will have the entry fee associated with it. You also have a promotion code button here, so you can we will be updating you regarding the promotion codes, so you can stay tuned on our social media handles and get the promotion code and avail a discount. The mentor should complete the payment processes, and once it is done, the mentor in his email would get in his email, he would get the login credentials for the Qubits learning management system. So the mentor will get the login credentials of the participants, the login credentials of the mentor, and the Qubits LMS URL. So once you get the URL, students can log in with their credentials. They can enter their credentials and click a login, which will take you to the dashboard. So mine is a demo account. So that is why I have all the challenges listed here. Suppose you have a selected climate action challenge, you will have the challenge details here. So you can click on the challenge details button, which will take you to the problem statement where you can analyze the problem and in fact get deeply into the problem statement, following which you will also have the guidelines for the participants here and the judging criteria. So since you have opted for climate action challenge, you get free access to web development. So let me tell you how you can go about it. You can see courses. So there is a drop down button and you can find preparatory course web development. You can select. So this will take you to the course overview of web development. So you can basically find what you will be learning here. And further down, you will see the breakdown of chapters of web development essentials. So if I click on the first chapter, that is basics of HTML and CSS. So all these chapters will have video tutorials and checkpoints throughout the chapters. You also have a launch web editor. So if you click on that, you can write your code here and prepare. So students can basically prepare for the competition from here itself. They can go chapter by chapter. And once they are ready, they can kick off their project by clicking on My Projects here in the top. So you can click here and on the right, you will have the new project. So you can click web editor. So here from here also, uh, you can launch your web editors and you can write your code here. So this is how the Qubits LMS works for students. Qubits was recently awarded the prestigious ISTE seal. We are all excited for the future. So let me also take you how how the mentors can use it. The mentors can log in with their credentials. They can click a login. And since the participants had already selected climate action challenge, that particular track will be in their dashboard. So they can click on start a submission button. So mentor can view the climate action challenge contest details. He can go in depth about it, what the particular track is all about. They can also view the rubric grading criterias. So basically, this is nothing but the judging criteria. You will have the levels, the different levels, and the points associated with it. Mentor can go deeply into that and then get on finally with the submission protocols. So first, those files which they have to submit. So those files which are less than 4 MB, they can upload it directly here. If it exceeds 4 MB, they can paste the code file URL here. Secondly, they can upload the video link directly here. You can paste the video link here. And thirdly, the PPT files, which the team has done. So mentor can upload those files which are less than 4 MB here. And if it exceeds 4 MB, then they can paste the file URL here. So this is all about the working of the Qubits LMS, which the mentor and the students can use. Now I request Ms. Gowsika to kindly start the Masterclass series Climate Action Challenge using web technologies. Over to you, Gowsika.
Thank you, Abhiraman. Hi everyone, I extend my warm welcome to all of you for this masterclass series on climate action challenge using web technologies. Let me share my screen. Give me a minute. So I hope you all are aware of the previous masterclass series on the same topic which used Python. Today we'll explore the same using web technologies. In today's masterclass, we'll understand the problem statement, learn how to come up with project ideas, see a sample project and know how to build it as a team, look at some tools used and some common errors that we make while doing the project. At the end, we'll explore some more sample project ideas too. So moving on, as you all know, the Climate Action Challenge is for the age category 11 to 14 years, where you'll be creating applications using Python or web technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, etc. that help the user to make sustainable choices in their daily life. Moving on to the problem statement, I'm going to give you a quick introduction to the problem statement. Have you noticed how summers feel hotter, rains are unpredictable, and winters aren't the same now? We are seeing more heat waves, floods, wildfires, and storms, and they are becoming more frequent and intense, right? So, in fact, Earth's temperature has gone up to about 1.2 degrees Celsius over the last 100 years. That's a serious warning, actually. So, if this continues, we'll face more danger. So, climate change is real and it is mainly caused by greenhouse gas emissions due to various activities like deforestation, transportation, poor waste management, and industrial processes, etc. I'll just quickly get you an idea of what is greenhouse gases and what contributes to them. There are many greenhouse gases, few of which are carbon dioxide that comes from burning fossil fuels and deforestation, methane from landfills and leaking gas pipelines, nitrous oxide from fertilizers, and fluorinated gases from refrigerators and air conditioners we use. So, this is the right time to take action against climate change. I hope the problem statement is clear. Moving on to the next slide. Now you all may have a question like how software or applications are going to help us in battling climate change. We will, software Well, software can track our daily activities and give us helpful feedbacks. This feedback helps us understand what we can change to be more eco-friendly. Apps can also suggest green alternatives, send reminders to us, and help us plan for a sustainable lifestyle. In addition to that, the interesting thing is they also let us build communities where we can share ideas, support each other, and work together to make a bigger impact. That's wonderful, right? And the next question you'll be having is like, what are all the steps to be followed to come up with more project ideas and to finalize one? So, the first step is to understand the problem statement. I hope you are all clear about the problem statement now. So, moving on to the next step is to research the key areas where daily choices contributes to climate change. For example, some of the key areas are energy consumption, waste management, carbon footprint, ocean temperature rise, plastic usage, and pollutions like air pollution, soil pollution, etc. So, out of which you have to choose one that interests you. Then, as a team, you have to brainstorm software solutions for it. You have to check the feasibility and finalize the idea. While brainstorming, you have to do an intense research to get more ideas. Also, try to identify the drawbacks of the existing ones and find the ways where you can fix the drawbacks. And if you follow all these steps, I'm sure you'll be able to finalize the project idea. Moving on, in this master class, let's take a quick look at the sample project called Carbon Footprint Calculator. As you all know, carbon footprint is the total amount of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere. Our daily choices like transport, electricity usage, our dietary choices, our shopping choices, everything will affect greenhouse gas emission and our carbon footprint value also. So now let's take a look at a very basic carbon footprint calculator. Yes, as you can see here, right, this web development and web applications are it will be developed using a combination of multiple languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, and so on. So this web app is developed using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript alone. And this is used to estimate how much carbon a person emits per month based on their lifestyle choices. Here I have given few questions. I have given 8 questions based on their lifestyle choices, and if they input their values, if we click on the calculate carbon footprint button, we'll be able to see how much carbon the person is emitted. I'll just take you through a demo. I'm going to fill this form and click on the calculate button. So if I click on this calculate carbon footprint, you'll be able to see the output, right? How much carbon dioxide a person emits based on their inputs. So let us jump into the coding part. Yes, as you can see, this is the web editor where you can write HTML, CSS, and JavaScript codes. This is the code area, and this is the output area where you will be able to see the output. And if you want to reset the entire code, you can click on this reset button. If you want to run and execute the code, you can click on this run button and see the output in the result area. And if you want to maximize this output area, you can click on this maximize button. The output area will be maximized. Then in addition to that, you can also change the layout of this entire web editor. If you click on this layout button, you'll be able to see 3 options. One is classic. If you click on classic, the web editor layout will be like this. If you click on the tab, it will be like this. And if you click on the split, it will be like this. You can choose one that interests you. Okay. And one more thing is like if you want to experiment with HTML, CSS, and JS code, and if you don't want to save anything, you can just use this Cloud IDE. You can hover on the Cloud IDE and choose the web editor, and you can use this. But if you want to save your project for future use, you have to use this My Projects. Go to My Projects, click on Create New Project button, and click on the web editor. If you click on web editor, the same IDE that you see under Cloud IDE will be displayed here. Here also you can code, and all the codes that you are written here are auto saved. So once you log in back, you'll be able to find the code written here. And apart from that, one more interesting thing is like you can download this project from here and share it with your friends too. So let us move on to the coding part. Yes. Coming to the coding part, you all know, right? HTML is used to create and structure the elements on the web page. So it is basically it basically contains tags. Tags are nothing but the words that is written inside these angular brackets are called tags. Each component will have an associated tag. So here what I did was I have created a main heading carbon footprint calculator using this H1 tag. And after that, I have created a subheading for the form using H2 tag. And I have created a form using form tag. Inside the form, I have listed 8 questions, out of which 7 questions will add up the carbon footprint value and 1 question will be based on recycling. And here each question is placed inside the label tags, and I have provided the corresponding user input fields too. So here I have used only 2 user inputs like number inputs and the drop downs. You can see here, right? I have used only number inputs and the drop downs. So can anyone tell me what are all the other user inputs that are there in the HTML? Please share your answers on the chat. Yes, there are buttons. So yes, you are right. We have many user inputs like number inputs, text inputs, then buttons are there, then radio buttons, check boxes, rain sliders, everything is there. You can use anything as per your choice based on your questions. So after all these questions are done, here you can see, right, I have used the select tag for displaying the drop downs, an option tag for displaying the options inside it. Like these options, rarely, occasionally, and frequently. These options are given inside the option tag. So after the form is created, I have created a submit button for the submission. And apart from that, I have created a space for displaying the result also. So this is all about the HTML. I hope you are clear. So moving on to this CSS, this is an interesting part actually. So usually we use CSS to style the HTML pages. As you can see here, I have center aligned these headings and center aligned the entire form. I have used some background colors, some borders with curved corners and all those things. And one more interesting thing is like I have, if you hover on this calculate carbon footprint button, the color of the button is getting changed, right? So all these interesting things you can write it in the CSS. Okay. So coming to CSS, we can use either the tag name or the ID name to set designs to a particular component. If you go to HTML, the first thing we have to do is we have to give ID for all the components. This ID should be unique. It is used to uniquely identify each component. So if you are using tag, you can just name the tags like H1, H2 and start giving the designs. If you are using the IDs, you have to start with the hash symbol followed by the ID name. So these are all some of the basic things. And as you can see, the spacings are also clear and perfect, right? So all these things we can give in CSS. So this here, if you want, and one more thing is like if you want to give a particular style to more than one element, like heading 1 and heading 2, you can just separate them by comma as shown here and give the design code below. So I hope you are all clear with the CSS. So this CSS is all about giving background colors, setting the width, giving the margin, giving the padding spaces, aligning the text, everything. All the styling things will be under CSS. Then coming to the JavaScript, this is the code uh, where you'll use the JavaScript to make your web page more interactive. And so I'm going to use JavaScript to calculate the carbon footprint. All the backend logics and calculations I have written inside the JavaScript. So once the user fill the form and click on this calculate button, the JavaScript code will get all the user input values here. To get the user input value, the first thing it will do is first it will get the element. How it will get the element? It will get the element using the ID. So using document.getElement by ID, it will get the element. And using this dot value code, it will get the corresponding value. So first and foremost thing is we are going to get all the input values and store it in the corresponding variables. And the next important part is calculating the carbon footprint. Before calculating the carbon footprint, if you take a close look at the form, you will be seeing that some user inputs are hours per day, some user inputs are hours per week or kilometer per week, and some user inputs are per month. Now we are going to calculate the carbon footprint per month. So we have to convert the units of per day and per week inputs. So for per day input, I am going to multiply it by 30, and for per week input, I am going to multiply it by 4 to get a monthly value. Apart from that, if you can see, you will be able to see these values like 0.5, 0.3, 0.2, etc. Right? These are called as emission factors. Emission factors is nothing but the rate at which an activity is emitting carbon. So on the whole, each activity will be having an average emission factor. So at the end of this webinar, I'll be sending you a website for you to refer about these emission factors and all those things. Okay. Then how we are going to calculate carbon footprint is we are going to get the input value, we are going to convert it into a monthly value, and we are going to multiply it by the emission factors, right? And for few inputs like shopping and dietary choices, based on your input, we'll be adding some values based on the emission factors. So as you can see, all these AC usage, device usage, kilometers, travel related things, and shopping and meat consumption. So all these will add up the carbon footprint calculator for carbon footprint values. You can see here, right? This plus equal to will add up. But when a person is recycling, their carbon footprint actually decreases. So we are decreasing the carbon footprint value based on the recycling terms. After calculating the carbon footprint, we'll be displaying it on the HTML page. So this is all about the coding part. I hope I'm clear. Now, moving on, let's look at some of the common simple mistakes that we make while developing a web development project. The first important mistake, the first basic mistake that we'll make is we forget to close the tags, right? We'll forget to close the tag, or we'll close the tag in an inappropriate place. So that will surely is going to cause an issue. For example, if I forget to close this h1 tag, and if I run the output, you can see here, right? Yes. So all the questions and all these things are considered as heading. So this is not what we expect. So it is important to close the tags appropriately. That is the first one. And the second one is this ID should be unique. You shouldn't use the same ID for two or more components. The ID should be unique for each element. If you are going to use the same ID for two components, then while doing the styling and while getting the inputs, you will be facing some errors, or it will create confusions while doing the coding. So it is always better to add unique IDs. So that I'll show you an example. Like if I use the same ID for this result div also, and if I run the output, you'll be able to see, right, that second container is also getting the same styling that I'm giving for the first container, which is not the expected one. So you have to give a unique ID to all the components. This is the second one. And the third one is coming to the CSS. If we give some incorrect selector name, then that will also cause an issue. For example, if I use some incorrect symbol instead of hash, if I use some dot, and if I'm going to run the output, the corresponding style will not be applied to that element because the selector name is having an issue. So these are all some of the common things that we have to take care while creating a web development project. And two more things is there. One is like we should never forget to link the CSS and the JavaScript files, these external files. If you fail to link it, then the CSS and JavaScript will not work. So it is important to link the CSS file inside the header tag, and you have to link the JavaScript file at the end of the body tag. These two things are mandatory. And apart from that, if you are using any form in your project, it is important to validate them. For example, consider if the user doesn't give any values, she or he is directly going and clicking on that submit button or the calculate button. What will happen? These we don't get any data to calculate, right? So this is unnecessary, and the user will also didn't know aware that he or she is have to fill all these things before clicking the submit button. So what we have to do is form validation is important. You have to go to the HTML and mark the required attribute in all the necessary fields. This is an important one. And another thing is like, for example, consider this question like how many hours per day do you use air conditioning? If I try to enter some negative values like -20 or something, our calculation is going to be incorrect, right? So we have to validate this also. This also can be done in the HTML itself. You have to go to the corresponding input and you have to use the min and max attributes. So min is equal to 0 and max is equal to some 20. So if you use this and if you run the code, It will not go below 0 and it will not go above 20 also. So these are all some basic validations that we need to keep in mind while creating a web development project using forms. And I'm now going to show you an interesting thing like how to debug a HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code using just a Chrome web browser. So for that, what you have to do is you have to go and open your HTML file in the Chrome web browser. So it will look like this, right? After that, you have to go and click on this three button, go to more tools and click on the developer tools. Now you will get a window like this. Okay. So this is called developer tools of the Google Chrome web browser. You can use Control Shift I in Windows and Command Option I in Mac for opening this developer tool. So after that, if you want to see what are all the styling related things that is applied to a particular component, you have to click on this arrow mark button and you can go and click on this component and you can see the CSS styles that is applied to that component. If you are not sure of what are all the values that we need to give, you can experiment it here. For example, if you're not sure about the margin value, you can just change the values here and see the output and come up with a solution. So this is one thing. And another thing is like, if you want to see how JavaScript code is executing line by line and what are all the values that we are going to get from the user inputs, all those things, what are all the values stored in the variables, you can do it by clicking on the sources tab. You can go to the script.js and as you can see, if you click on this line numbers, you will be able to see a blue pointer. This blue pointer is called debug pointer. Okay. So after you put the debug pointer wherever you want, you have to run the code. Let me run the code. Give me a minute. Yes, if I click on this calculate carbon footprint, you can see, right, this yellow highlighted line. This is the line that is currently executing. If you use the function key F8, it will be moved to the next debug pointer. So in this way, you can see how a JavaScript code is executed line by line. And you can also see the values of the variables. Like if you hover on the variable, you'll be able to see the values. So one by one, you can go ahead and find the values of the carbon footprint also. So this way, if you are stuck with any errors or if you are stuck with any logical calculation related errors, you can use this debugger option and you can find the errors easily. Okay. So apart from this, apart from our web editor, you can also use other IDEs like Visual Studio Code, Eclipse, NetBeans, even a normal text editor will do for a web development project. And as I said already, this is a very basic fundamental part of a carbon footprint calculator. You can extend this project and add more features and functionalities. Let me show you an example. Like here, you can use a home page. Like you can give an introduction on climate change, and if they click on this calculate button, they'll be able to see the form page. So here, instead of giving all the questions under the same form, you can categorize the questions and create different forms. And you can categorize them as tabs as well. Apart from that, you can have some extra features like moving back to the home page, recalculating, etc. So let me show you, take you through this. So if I click on the next button, another interesting feature you see is the progress bar. This looks good, right? Because the user can see how much progress they have made in the form. So this gives them a fulfilling feeling that they are going to complete the form. So these are all some user experience features that you can add to make your project more interesting. So moving on, you can use as many user inputs you want. You can use how many as many questions you need. Like you can use this range slider and you can use this number inputs. Then you can even use check boxes, and based on the check boxes, you can give some values. And You can use radio buttons also. So at the end, if I click on the submit button, you will be able to see the result page. You can make this result page more interesting by adding graphical representations and suggestions based on the carbon footprint that they emit. So I will give you a quick tip on how to get this graphical representation easily on a web development project. Does anyone know about APIs, Application Programming Interface? Please pour your thoughts on the chat about Application Programming Interface. So, application programming interface is nothing but it is an intermediary between your application and the other existing applications. Instead of writing everything from scratch, instead of getting all the data from scratch, you can just send a request to an existing web application and get the data. So that is how the API works. So I'll show you a sample API to get this graphical representation. That is called as the Quick Chart API. In the quick chat, this is the website. I'll share all these things at the end in the chat. You can make use of it. So here in the quick chat API, at the home page itself, you'll be able to see a URL, right? This is what we are going to build in in our JavaScript file, and we'll get an image as the output, and we are going to show it as an image in the HTML. Okay. So I'll just show you a sample code of how it should be done. If you can go here, usually when we have to display an image in the HTML, we'll be using this image tag. Do you remember, right? Like you'll be giving the URL or the path in the SRC path, and you'll be adding an alt text also. So first thing you have to do in JavaScript is you have to build that URL based on your data. After that, you have to create an image element using document.createElement function. After that, you have to set this chart URL as the SRC attribute of the image. Then if you do all these things, automatically you will be able to see the graphical representation. In addition to this, you can also use database, and you can compare the previous responses and the current response and provide chart based on analysis like category based analysis, age group based analysis, etc. These are all some extra features that you can add in your web development project. And one more interesting thing is like you can make this entire web page more responsive to all the screen sizes. I'll just show you one thing. Yes, if you can see, right, if I move the screen size, if I change the screen size, all these components are getting aligned automatically. So this is called as responsive web page. So to build this responsive web page, you should use Bootstrap. Okay, so this is the website for Bootstrap where you can refer for all the component code and all the tips related to Bootstrap. First thing you have to do is you have to include your this Bootstrap CSS and Bootstrap JS in your HTML, and you can start using it. For example, if you want to add a Bootstrap button, you can go here and type button and click enter. You can see, right? You can see a number of codes related to buttons. You can choose the one that you want and use it in your HTML code, edit it based on your needs. And you can create a responsive web page using Bootstrap. If you want to know more about Bootstrap, please refer to the preparatory course in our LMS. So I hope I'm clear with all these concepts. Now, at the end, you will be having a question like, you understand the project, right? Now you'll be having a question like, how to split the project and how to build it as a team. So for developing any software, there are some fundamental steps we have to do. One is planning, designing, coding, and testing. After finalizing the ideas, the first step is to decide the features and functionalities of your web application, the tools you are going to use, and how you are going to split the project among yourself. So this is the planning phase. After planning everything, you have to design the application, like how you are going to place the components and what are all the color schemes that you are going to use. So all these styling things will be coming under designing thing, and what will be the flow of your web application. So all these things will come under designing. Either a simple drawing or a visual representation tools like Penpot will work. After designing, we'll jump into the coding part and we'll test it for bugs. So this is all about the phases of project development. So now we'll see how to split the modules. There are actually two ways to split the modules. The first way is to split it based on front end and back end. Like one person can work on the user interface designing and coding, and the other can do calculations and logic. And the other approach is to split the project based on functionalities. Like one person can do the home page, one person can design the forms and validation things, they can take care of form validations also. And one person can focus on calculating the carbon footprint, and one person can work on graphical representation. So these are the two ways we can split the web development project. I hope you all are clear about the two approaches to splitting the project. Coming to the end, I know you all are waiting for some sample project ideas, right? I hope you got many ideas in the previous session. Now I will show a few more. First one will be Sustainable Agriculture Guide. Here, the user will enter details like the crops grown, the watering methods, the farming methods, and the fertilizers used. So, based on these data, the app will provide a greener alternative. That will be one idea. The second idea is Waste Manager, where the user logs the waste that they throw daily, like plastics, food, paper. Or if you want to make this project little bit more interesting, you can ask them to upload photos and use them as the user input. And this app will recommend the ways to reduce the waste. And coming to the third one, Sustainable Shopping Guide. So this is about the user can input their recent purchase details and get some suggestions based on a greener alternative for shopping. Coming to the air quality tracker, here we can use APIs to get the air quality data around a particular location and provide suggestions based on that. Last but not the least, coming to the sustainable lifestyle tracker, user can answer some daily questions or select activities like how much travel did they did today, and what about the waste that they have generated. Some basic questions on a daily lifestyle based questions, and they'll be able to get a suggestion based on that. So these are all the things from my end. So that's all from my end. Now it's time for questions. Please post your questions on chat. Over to you, Abhiraman.
Thank you, Ms. Gowsika. That was really excellent. The participants have undoubtedly gained valuable insights from this masterclass on web technologies today. So now let's get into the questions. So the first question is how to open carbon footprint calculator in Chrome.
If you want to open carbon footprint calculator in Chrome, you can just double click on the HTML file, or you can right click on the HTML file and choose open with Chrome. Then the file will be opened in the browser. You can choose any browser. You can choose Microsoft Edge, you can use Safari, any browser, you can open it in the same way.
Okay, moving on to the next question. It is, can we use JavaScript or C++ in any of the tracks?
So here's, I think C++ is not suitable for web development project. You can use JavaScript. That is far more better and easier.
Okay, the next question. Can we deploy our apps using platforms like Replit or GitHub Pages?
Yes, yes, sure. You can deploy it on GitHub pages, and you should add your GitHub page link while submitting the project. That's very important.
Okay. Next question. Is mobile responsiveness or mobile app development, example, Kiwi, allowed?
I think Kiwi is for Python. Here you can use Bootstrap to make it responsive across all the screen sizes, either mobile, tablet, laptop. You can use Bootstrap if you are going to use web technologies.
Okay. Now another question. For the climate action challenge, what are the options? HTML or HTML and Python or both?
You can choose HTML, or you can use Python, or you can use a combination of both also. All are fine.
Next question. Are visualizations, example, using Matplotlib, Plotly required or optional?
So these matplotlib and plotly libraries are for Python. So if you want to have graphs, you have to use APIs in web development. As I have shown one thing, right? Like quick chart API. You can use that to get the graphical representation easily.
Okay, the next question is what tools or platforms are allowed in each track?
In each track, it depends upon the track you choose. Like if you are going to choose Scratch, you have to use the Scratch platform. If you are going to use climate action, if you are under the category of climate action challenge, you will be using web development, web technologies, and Python. If it is data science, you will be using data science related tools. And
Yeah,
AI, it is AI related to it entirely depends on the category that you belong to.
yeah, they can, I think they can look for that in the website also, all
Yes,
information
yes,
are provided.
yes.
Yeah, another question, can we use any version of Scratch or Python?
Yes, here you can use any version of Python if you are choosing Python for climate action challenge.
Okay. Next question, are frameworks like Flask or Django allowed in the climate action challenge?
Yes, they are allowed actually. They
Okay.
are entirely for Python, so they are allowed. You can
Yeah,
use that and create a web application.
yeah, you had mentioned that. Moving on, how should we handle APIs or databases in our app?
Yes, this is actually a very in-depth question that I can't answer it in one line, like how to use them. I have just shown you a demo, right? How to use the quick chat application API. You can just build the URL. And first, the first thing is you have to understand what is the output that you are going to get it from that API. Based on that, you can build the components in HTML and just you can show it.
Okay, we have one more final question. That is, can we use a database, PHP, or any other scripting language to develop the projects?
Yes, sure. You can use databases. You can use server-side scripting languages like PHP. You can use that. No problem.
Okay, there is one more question which just came in. Can we use Streamlit for the graphs?
Can you come again, Abhiraman?
Can we use Streamlit for the graphs?
Streamlit. I'll just look into it. I'm not that much aware of Streamlit. I'll be replying back in mail if it is needed.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Ms. Gowsika, for answering all the questions and enriching our masterclass series today. Uh,
Yes. Thank you, everyone. All the best for ICO.
so we will, there's one more question which has come up. Yeah. Can we use XAMPP in our code, SAMP in our codes?
Yes.
Okay. So we also have a Google form for feedback, which we will be posting it right now. Uh, I request, yeah, we'll be posting it right now. I request you all to fill out the feedback form, the link for which is right now shared in the chat pod. We would definitely appreciate it. So now let's moving on to the thanks part. We at Qubits Learning hope that today's masterclass series, Climate Action Challenge, using web technologies has enriched you with a deeper understanding of this particular competition track. Qubits Learning would like to thank our partners, Athena Education, Copperstone Education, and Be Curious STEM Learning for being with us in this wonderful knowledge-oriented journey. I thank Ms. Gowsika for your clear explanation in the masterclass, which definitely has um, enhanced the students' understanding of the topic. Your thoughtful presentation and your clear-cut examples have, it has definitely made the session unforgettable.
Thank you.
Okay, so participants, please note that we will have the following masterclass series lined up on April 24th. You will have the masterclass on Scratch. On April 30th, you will have the masterclass on AI-driven solutions, and on May 6th, finally, we will have the masterclass on data analysis. So please go to our website and find out the dates. Uh, Please follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook for all the updates. For the masterclass series, please note that all the classes are free. You can join in with the same link. So please follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook for all the updates. If you want to write to us for regarding any ICO related information, you can write to us to connect@computingolympiad.org. So now myself and Gowsika here, we would like to wish all the participants the very best of luck in their challenges. This is your host, Abhiraman V, signing off. Thanks for attending today. See you all in the next class. Thank you and have a great day.